What's one piece of advice you would give to an aspiring chief of staff, and what's one piece of advice you would give to a current chief of staff?
Yeah. So for an aspiring chief of staff, well, I will actually reverse it for I'll start with for a current chief of staff. In my experience, what makes a really good chief of staff is being excellent at problem identification and figuring out what are the highest priority pain points so that you and your principal know that the areas where you're spending your very limited time and attention are high impact ones. But I think what makes a really great chief of staff is not just identifying the gap, but actually building the bridge and solving the problem. Not just coming with, here's the problem, but coming with, these are three ways that we could solve it. Or I have a vision. If you say go for it, I will just make it happen. So I think, understanding that the need sensing and the problem identification is like a necessary but not sufficient condition to the role. At the risk of angering maybe the kind of your typical consultants, but like a management consultant can come in and tell you, these are the 5 things that are wrong with your organization. And then here are our kind of out of the box standard approaches for how to solve it. And people pay really good money for those kinds of services. As a chief of staff, you have the ability to do that first part, but also say, and
Right.
here's a custom solution for your organization that matches your culture, that matches your priorities and the way that things work here. For an aspiring chief of staff, I would say the advice is kind of the same in that you can leverage those skills in any sort of role. You don't have to have a chief of staff title to do that exact activity. I think that's what kind of led me in the previous roles where I said, okay, we need X. Here's how I think that we should fix it. Even when it wasn't my job, it wasn't kind of
Right.
said to me like, here's a problem we need to fix. It was like, hey, this is actually something that I want to be a squeaky wheel about and try to tell people, I think we really need to, fix this issue. And so if you want to be a chief of staff, I think developing that reputation for, I pinpoint what the problem is, but I bring solutions, and not just someone should do X, but I'm going to do X, or I'm going to work with these people to implement it, and really actually following through.